Smitty with Smitty's Fly Box. I'm going to tie an Autumn Girdle Bugger today. This is in the September beginner fly tying box. Great little fall fly. It's kind of transitioning from the hoppers to the streamers, so it can be like a drowned hopper or a streamer, and it can work in lots of different situations. Warm water bass, you can fish it out of a drift boat into the bank, even small streams. So I hope you enjoy this one. It's basically a woolly bugger with these rubber legs on there. So I'm using a size 6 streamer hook, and we're going to just attach our thread right there in the middle, lay down a little bit of a thread base there, and make a few wraps up here behind the bead, and then we'll start with our tail. So for the tail, first thing, we'll start with our yellow marabou. I want the tail to be about the length of the hook shank, so about right there like that. And I'm going to come forward just a little bit. That way I can tie it in closer to the front. Get a little more of an even underbody on that guy. We'll tie that down all the way back to our tie-in point directly above the barb of the hook, about right there. And let's return our thread and repeat that step with our brown marabou. So we're going to want to even that up. Like that. And I'll just hold that with my left hand as I tie down that marabou along the hook all the way back to our tie-in point. And that gives us a nice two-tone tail there. I got a little bit of excess up here. I'm not going to worry too much about that because we'll cover that up. All right, now we're ready for our chenille. So I'm going to take about a 3 or 4 inch strand of chenille, lay it right there in that same spot, and tie that down along the hook shank. And then this is where we can tie in our hackle. Just some regular old Whiting Farms hackle. And what I'm going to do is just trim off some of this so I have a good stem there that I can tie down nice and tight right along the hook shank right there and secure that in. And now let's take our thread forward just slightly. All right, we're ready for the rubber legs. So I'm going to tie in 3 sets of legs across the hook shank here. So the first set first leg I'm going to tie in is directly above the point of the hook. And what I'm going to do is take this leg and just lay it across the hook like so, and then I can bring my thread around and just wrap over it. Now, to get it laying nice and straight, I'm going to pull that front leg back, and now I can figure 8. That begins to get that leg how I want it. If it's not perfect, not going to worry too much about it right now. But we're going to advance our thread to the halfway point, and we'll repeat that step. So again, lay that rubber leg across the hook, make 1 turn right there, and then I can pull that front leg back, and I can do my figure 8s. And really secure that in there. And we'll advance it a little farther forward and do our last leg. Okay, now we'll take our thread right behind the bead. And now we can wrap our chenille the first thing. So we'll take our chenille, and we're going to wrap this over the top away from us and just build the body of this fly as we work forward. Once you approach the legs, we can basically just get those out of the way and just work through those. And the chenille will help position those legs and straighten them out for us. And then once we reach the bead head there, we can just hold that with our right hand and drop our thread over with our left hand about 3 times. Now we can snip off that excess. All right, now we can really just repeat that step with our hackle. Just try to make nice clean wraps. Working forward and just work around. Work around the rubber legs. And then we'll tie that off, hold that with our right hand, drop our thread over with our left hand. Again, about 3 times there to tie down that hackle. Now we can snip off that excess and pull everything back and just build a nice little collar right there. Place we can do our whip finish and clean up any loose hackle fibers. And, try not to capture those as we whip finish. We'll hit that with a little super glue, and then we can trim these legs down. Really personal preference how long you want those. I usually try to make those legs about the length of the hook shank. And that's pretty close right there. We got a nice beefy little fall fly.